Hey, what's up? How you doing today? This is a go-kart I worked on for my neighbor. It's either a one. I think this one's a 125. It's listed as a 110 also, but 125 GkG-2 series off-road kart. That's the worthless user's manual. This is kind of an assembly manual. Of course, here it's called a 900 GkG-2 go-kart. This is just for assembly. It's really worthless. The only thing it's useful for is if you got a broke off bolt or something that needs to be replaced. But assembly and such. This one is horribly translated from Chinese to English. But main thing is don't use cheap gas in them. Get you some pure gas. It's worth it every dollar. You're not going to save that much. It's not like these things use that much anyway. Always use pure gas and always winterize. Even when you're using pure gas, winterize. That cheap ethanol crap kills the shelf life of gas, and you want to use that crap up as soon as you can. The sooner the better. Just don't even buy it for small engines. And use a fuel stabilizer of some kind. Always. Makes it last longer. Anything to extend that shelf life and keep it from going bad and gumming up a carburetor. So this carburetor was starting to get gummed up. It wasn't too bad. I've seen a lot worse. Cleaned it up good and then realized it was flooding itself a little bit. So I bent the tab on the float a little bit, and that was all that needed. What else did I do? Yes. Okay, then the big problem I ran into, which you see why have I got this funky bracket on here? Okay, this stupid cast aluminum intake pipe broke for some reason. So I've got that bracket on there, hoping to give it a little support, so hopefully that crap won't happen again. So if that happens to you, if you can find one's available in steel, I'd go for it, because that's easier to fix. For me, I mean, can I weld? Yeah, but I'm not really set up to weld aluminum at home. So, but yeah, that delayed getting it done by at least a week or two. Then we had a snow ice apocalypse. So, I made a little spacer here because this is just almost metal on metal. They had a scrawny little gasket in between the aluminum head, and that intake pipe. So made that. I put some high temperature grease on it, and in the process I discovered that I did some testing and found out this STP that says right here, look at that, premium high temp. Well, guess what? This stuff burns like a candle. I tested it. So this stuff, on the other hand, that I'm almost out of, I need to get some more, did not. That stuff, I'm telling you, it ignites, no problem. This stuff right here, I don't even know that it even smoked. And that's putting it on a piece of steel welding rod. So that's good stuff, man. Test your stuff. I don't know how old that is. I wouldn't think grease would expire, would you? But, yeah. I put some of that high temperature stuff on that spacer I made. Try to get you some phenolic or asbestos or something good to try and, insulate from the heat and maybe a little bit of vibration. Of course, my bracket may cause it to put some vibration in there. But I believe those are 6 millimeter by 1.0 metric screws. So I made these got some a little bit longer ones, and this one had to be a little longer to put a nut on for that bracket. That's just a HVAC strap right there, and then a piece of unistrut stuff, pre-punch holes. But yeah, I found my phenolic, so use something like that or asbestos to make that kind of thing. What else? Yeah, I changed the oil, and the old oil looked awful. It was jet black and looked like it might have had some metal flake fine metal flake grit in it. But oh, something else that's cool about these, if your battery runs down and you still want to get it to start, or don't want to wait for your battery to charge up or whatever you got to do, you can pop this cover off with a big flathead screwdriver, and you can use you got to use a pretty stout drill and a 5/16 socket and turn it counterclockwise and you can start it up that way. This electrical box is a mess, in my opinion. If you're good with electrical stuff, if you can set this up a little better, that'd be nice. This one's actually kind of broken on the bottom. I've got black duct tape holding it together, but I went through on a lot of these connections and took them apart and put some good Garner Bender ox guard electrical grease on there, and then tried to tape them up some more to protect them, but that always helps. So what else? Might be about it. This is how you adjust the your chain tension. This big bolt, I think that's a 17 millimeter socket or wrench, and there's a nut underneath you got to loosen up too. You can adjust it with that, but you also got to use, this bolt was broken off on this one, so I replaced it with 5/16. It may have supposed to have been metric, but that's what I used. Oh well. And that uses a what was it? I think a 1/2 inch wrench, I believe, on that, on both sides, one on each side. Helps hold the chain tension. So yeah, I think that's about it. I thought it had a low gear and a high gear, because on the little readout thing right there it says L in forward. Well, it should say F, for instead of L, because that made me and somebody else assume that it had a high gear, but we all know what assume stands for. So I don't think it has a high gear. I couldn't find it, and other guys on YouTube said it didn't have it. So you can grease these fittings in the top side of the suspension. There's not one on the bottom, which seems dumb that they would go to that trouble on top but not the bottom, but whatever. I think that was about it. So take care, have a good one.